On the agenda tonight, we're going back to 2010. We're going to be taking a look at Simply Red, and they're going to be performing You Make Me Feel Brand New. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So, we're going to be focusing in on Mick Hucknall's voice, of course. I have isolated the vocal, run it through the pitch monitoring software as well, so we will be approaching this in exactly the same way that we approach the other analysis videos. There's a link, as always, in the description below if you guys want to watch it the whole way through without me interrupting, because I am going to be jumping into this. I mean, there is so much to point out, but let's jump into it and see how Mick gets on.
My love, I'll never find the words, my love, to tell you how I feel, my love. Mere words could not explain. Precious love, held my life within your hands, created everything I am, taught me how to live again. Only you cared when I needed a friend, believed in me through thick and thin. This song is for you, filled with gratitude and love. God bless you. You make me feel brand new. For God bless me.
So I'm going to jump in here. This is an absolute masterclass across the board. When you listen to the band, obviously Mick's vocals just insane, but when you listen to the band, it is just so well put together. The verse going into the chorus and then having the drums come in with the chorus, just opening the dynamic a little bit, but not too much. Really tentative on the kit. So anyway, yeah, this is one of those videos that you could break down for years from an instrumental perspective, but we're going to be focusing on the vocal. The first thing is that Mick here is doing something with his voice that you rarely see. Obviously, he's got a great appreciation of that dynamic change from the verse into the chorus, but the way that he's achieving that is by just lightening up in the verse, keeping everything in chest voice. This is the point. And as we have a little rewind into the verse, notice where the microphone is when we start.
I'll never find the words, my love.
And yeah, such a great tone as well. But he's got the microphone. Where would you expect it? You would expect it to be there probably for most of the performance. And the mic position and his mic technique really shows what he's doing with his voice, and the fact that he is keeping this all in chest voice, because when he starts to ascend in range, he gets to then leaning into his diaphragm a little bit more, but really belting by the end when we get into the chorus. Of course, that's why it's so dramatic. We have that softly spoken sound in the verse, low down in range, and as we ascend in range, it's almost like he's just leaning on his diaphragm more and more and more and more until he's just full out, and we're just kind of fully, you know, accelerated down to the ground, fully open. But, I mean, it's amazing that he's got the range in order to achieve this live. We'll get the piano on screen so you guys have a bit of a reference point as to the notes going on throughout this song. But we'll just listen to the verse again here. I'll tell you what, let's take down the instrumentation as well.
To tell you how I feel, my love.
So there, that. To tell you how I feel. Down there, you can see we're around the B2, D sharp 3, but when we're then looking at our piano, you can see that the B2 is down here. So bottom end, I mean right at the bottom end of the male tenor range, but towards the bottom end of the baritone range, and you know, quite low in the bass range. So it's just an indication. Take this in, the notes that we're hitting at the moment, because you won't believe where we end up. You probably will expect it, but it is surprising considering this is all in chest voice.
Mere words could not explain. Precious love, you held my life within your hand.
I mean, this is just such an epic song as well, but we've now got this ascension in pitch, but not too much. But again, you've got to have the range in order to be able to do this, because when I said about having that B, the B2, we've now gone above the B3. So again, you don't notice this, that we've already gone up over an octave. But because of Mick's delivery, it's so silky smooth, so tonally consistent, that you can just enjoy the vocal. And I do definitely suggest that you check out the whole performance without me jumping into it, just from beginning to end, because then you get to appreciate that journey, not only melodically because of the composition, but vocally, the range that we've got and the dynamic range that we've got throughout the performance.
Created everything I am.
I mean, look at the pitch accuracy as well. Another thing is that when you're listening to this with all of the instrumentation and listening to it as a whole performance, this vocal just sounds spot on all the time. There's not a note that stands out anywhere to your ears that Mick misses. And this is the great thing about looking at vocals in this kind of detail, because you will be able to see, I mean, how accurate he is all the time. I mean, here the F sharp 3 is just bang on. But as we progress, there will be notes that aren't on lines, but that's the great thing about music, is it doesn't conform to these lines, this equal temperament 440 hertz tuning that we're looking at on screen. So every note that he hits just sounds perfect, because it is.
Taught me how to live again.
Again, listen to this vibrato. Live again. He's got that little wobble in there, which we can see on our pitch monitor here.
Only you cared when I needed a friend. Believed in me through thick and thin.
Listen to the accuracy. Listen to the leaning on the diaphragm, you know, really actually leaning into his sound here. We're still in chest voice. We will be throughout the whole song. The A sharp 4 here actually going up to the B4. So we started at B2 in the verse. So we've covered 2 octaves. Now, the reason that we know that Mick isn't going to a mixed voice sound and, you know, applying almost the illusion of chest voice because of the mic placement. Let's have a look at this.
The friend believed in me through thick and thin.
So when we are hitting this B4 and the A sharp 4, look at where the mic is compared to where we were in the verse, when, you know, it's really close to his mouth. So it shows you that the volume he is now singing with the volume that he's producing with his voice, he has to have the mic so far away to keep the balance. Listen to his voice and how balanced it is throughout this whole performance. Because again, this is mic technique. This is something that will fly under your radars. Because Mick is controlling the level of his voice throughout the whole performance. It's not somebody on the mixing desk just taking his voice down because, oh, he's getting loud, let me take that down. Oh, he's now quiet, let me boost it up. This is all kept at the same level on the desk, but Mick is managing it with his mic. And again, it's just having that deeper appreciation of this performance. I mean, not only just technically how he's just nailing it, but the way that he's keeping his attention on the balance of his voice for the whole performance, to have it just sitting over the top of the instrumentation in that perfect place. But again, it's just across the board, just a top level performance. And, you know, we can tell here that he's really leading into it with that chest voice.
This song is for you, filled with gratitude and love.
And even there, just really belting it out. And even when he's going up, na 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 na, he's not doing that. He's not getting light with it. He's really kind of, you can hear that probably clipped on the mic. But when he starts leaning into, and that is why he has the mic so far away, because, you know, I am quite far from the mic here, but you can instantly tell the difference between, you know, na 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 na, between that sound and then what I did before that probably made the mic clip. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a great performance to enjoy listening to, but then when you analyze it, it's just so impressive from so many different angles.
God bless you. You make me feel brand new.
Another thing is that Mick does not let up throughout this whole performance. So it really is one of the most impressive performances that I've seen live of vocal endurance and being able to access these notes right at the top end of his chest voice. But with some singers, towards the end of a song, you know, they might go, because you, and they might get lighter and take it down and avoid those notes that are way up there. I mean, yeah, let's get back to the piano because we are hitting notes now. I said about that B4, which is just here on the piano. So we're just a semitone off the C5. Actually, we do hit a C sharp 5 here. So we're going above the top end of the male tenor range. So that means that we were right at the bottom where we started, and now we've extended above and beyond, and we're getting into countertenor range here. So, I mean, if we were to add that up, we were, you know, what can be classed as in the bass range. We were in the baritone range. We've now gone through the tenor range, and we're now in the countertenor range. So we have covered every single range that we have on this piano marked out. All of the male vocal ranges. He is hitting notes from all of them. But he's hitting notes from all of the different ranges in the same voice, in the same place, without going into falsetto, without lightening it up. So yeah, it's just, I think this is the first time I've ever done an analysis video where a male vocalist has covered all of the ranges that you will have classified for male vocalists in the same register, in that chest register. So yeah, just hugely impressive. We'll listen to it.
For God bless me with you. You make me feel brand new.
And you can actually see there where we go up to the C sharp 5. It's actually off the graph. You have to take my word for it that, yeah, we have gone above that male tenor high C.
I sing this song 'cause you.
And again, just referencing my point before about, you know, not always being on the lines, but it's sounding perfect. A great example here with the G sharp 4, where we're slightly sharp but then slightly flat, and going up to the A sharp 4 as well. We always have these little slides as well. There's so much expression in those. But this really does show that when you're listening, with the band there. Everything just comes together and sounds perfect. And then when you look at it on a graph, obviously this is why pitch correction, auto-tune just sounds a bit weird, because a great voice that sounds perfect isn't always on these lines. So when it is always on these lines, just something sounds up.
Make me feel brand new.
Let's bring in the band a little bit.
My love.
Also just nailing that key change down to the G3 from that chorus. So, I mean, again, that's something that is fraught with danger when you're in that spot vocally and you're in the key of the chorus, and then we have a key change into the verse. Just picking out those notes. I mean, obviously, Mick sung this many times, so he's used to that, but it is still something potentially where you can trip up and not be as accurate. But here the G3 is just absolutely spot on.
Whenever I was insecure, you
Again, you'll notice back down to the B2 here.
built me up and made me sure. You gave my pride back to me. Precious friend, with you I'll always have a friend. You're someone whom I can depend to walk a path that sometimes bends. Without you, life has no meaning or rhyme, like notes to a song out of time. How can I repay you for having faith in me? God, it's you. You make me feel brand new. For God blessed me with you.
I'm just going to jump in here because I just thought of something that popped into my mind. This performance really reminds me of vocalists that back in the day, back in kind of the Motown heyday, you'd get producers who would have a singer and a song would be recorded in a particular key. The singer would come in, sing it, but the producer would then re-record the backing, sometimes a semitone, a tone, even more than that, higher, so that the vocalist now has to push their voice to get to those top notes, because in the original recording they might not have had to push, and it doesn't have the same emotional impact or emotional effect when you're listening to it. The thing about that is a lot of singers who were made to do that, it meant that, yeah, in the studio where they're maybe having a rest, drinking water and everything, just trying to get this vocal takedown, they would be able to hit these notes and it would sound great because they'd be belting in chest voice, right at the top end of their chest voice range. But when it comes to then singing this live, they would struggle because that's right at the top end of their range. So if they're having a bad vocal day, or they might be a bit under the weather, they're never going to be able to get these notes because they have to be literally 100% fit and ready to go, vocally warmed up in order to hit those notes. And here, I mean, Mick is doing it live and he's not ducking any notes. He is belting this out every time. And looking at the way that he's singing this, you think at some point his voice is going to give out because there's that much emotion in it, but it doesn't.
You make me feel brand new.
I'm jumping into this every second, but it's also leaning into it but being accurate as well, not sounding like you're shouting. It's that balance, because some singers, when they do this kind of thing, it sounds like they're shouting rather than a singing voice that's got a lot of emotion in there. And it's because he's so accurate still. You know, he's not just shouting this out hoping to get near to the notes, he's bang on the notes, and he's still got that little hint of vibrato in there. But let's get back into it.
I sing this song 'cause you make it.
And again, that kind of slide off again, a little bit of a stylization, but it turns it into singing rather than you you know, shouting and not sounding like singing. He's still got vocal technique in here.
Make me feel so brand new.
There you go. You. He's still got all of those little runs in there. Lots of balance of airflow, vocal technique, accuracy with runs.
You are. Make me feel brand new. You make me feel brand new. Make me feel so brand new. You make me feel brand new. God has blessed me with you. Thank you.
And there we have it. And you see what I mean about just hitting all of the notes every single time. And this is what you want to see when you go and see a live band and one of your favourite singers live. You want them to just leave it all out on the stage, and that's definitely what Mick does here. But there's so much in this performance that's just insanely, I mean, even if this wasn't just as good as it is from every single angle, with the band, with the vocal, the way that's all in one part of his voice, in one vocal register, when we're looking at the range, even if he covered this, say for example, starting in chest voice, got into a mixed voice, went a little bit falsetto to go, you know, above the male tenor range, that would still be impressive, because you go, wow, having that kind of range just in a voice full stop is great, and you very rarely hear that. It's even more rare to hear this, for somebody to access all of these notes in chest voice, and it's great. I mean, we do have a sensitive mic here, because the fact that he can hold it that far away, not only does it show you that the mic is sensitive, but it shows you the volume that he is singing at. So it's that balance, that professional appreciation of his voice, the kind of mic he's singing into, how sensitive it is, and exactly where he needs to hold it to balance his voice with the rest of the band. So yeah, hopefully this video hasn't gone on for too long, but it's just such a great performance. And for me, I mean, Mick Hucknall's voice is one of those, you know, that was ever present in my youth. And I mean, so many great songs, Simply Red, released, that just had so many great hooks in there. But it's more than just having a great song, it's having a great vocalist to perform that great song that just takes it to another level. But thank you guys for requesting this video for me to take a look at. As always, keep those suggestions and requests coming in the comments section below. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!